Hi! What a beautiful day! Thank you, God, for this beautiful day in Florida. Today's journal, my life story, right? I'll start with yesterday. The spouse over there yelled at me because I put those hooks up there. I'll show you the hooks today. This is the hook that was holding up it's about 6 or 7 inches. It was hanging from the ceiling, and then these are the screws that she didn't want hanging from the ceiling, so she yanked it down. It was just stuck on drywall, so she could yank it with her fingers. I put it up there because I got the air conditioner on. My son is sleeping over there in the other room with the cat because the cat was sleeping on the bed over there, so he just joined the cat. It's almost 6 p.m. But the day started today with a spouse that had a happy face because I didn't know at the time why. As I was making my breakfast, she even opened the microwave door and gave me my tortillas with 2 eggs and some other things. I said, thank you. Yes, I'm going, what is she up to? Then I went to eat breakfast with my mom, with my breakfast, right? My mom's in bed, just as usual. I'm in bed right now, my mother's in bed all day, right? Just about. So then, as I walked into the room to sit with my mom, the spouse is sitting on the chair. So I climbed on top of the bed. She has a huge bed, 5 feet across or something, and 6 feet long or bigger. So I told her to please turn off the TV, as always, because I cannot talk when the TV is on. It distracts me. So my mother but my mother lectured me about my impositions, and so I grabbed my plate and went back out of the room. About 5 minutes later, I walked back into the room. This time the spouse is not sitting in the chair I usually sit, so I sit there, and my mother turns off the TV. And when I went in the first time, I went on the bed and I was about to start eating, and I told her to please turn off the TV, which she did, but then she started lecturing me, so I walked out. But before I walked out, I turned the TV back on, and then I walked out. And then 5 minutes later, I went back and I sat down in the chair. Mother turned off the TV, and spouse came in and said, will you help me, Daniel, to go pick up my father? He's in some city in Florida. And I said, no, you treated me horribly yesterday. So they asked me, why are you so upset? And I told her, you hate your father. That's why you treat me so badly. And she was in shock. And then my mother said something. Why am I angry or something? And I said, both of you threw me in jail, the hospital jail. And one time it was because you both lied. So then my mother said, I ought to throw you in jail because you threw me in jail, because I did throw my mother in jail one time when she threw some weapons at me. She threw two kitchen knives, both of them at my feet, but apparently she had a third one, or did she only have two? I don't remember. So I called the cops and they put her in jail. And then I prayed to God and I went to the courthouse to drop the charges, and then my mother was released after 47 days apparently, and she lost 30 pounds. And my mother says, I ought to throw you in jail so that you know the difference. Where you were was not horrible. And I didn't get a chance to answer her, but I told her it was not nice. I was being tortured over there by the TV because would you believe they turn on the TV from 6 a.m. They turn it off at 2 p.m. and make you sleep until 4 p.m. And then they turn it on from 4 p.m. all the way to 11 p.m. And I just could not stand the TV because I don't like TV. I don't like commercials. I don't like the news. And for instance, all of us were there. Why are we watching the news that the interstate there's a traffic jam? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I don't need to know there's a traffic jam. I could care less. In fact, all the 30 inmates in there, Baker acted people, none of us drove that day, right? And all of the security guards and nurses, well, the security guards were there. One of them told me that they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning so that they can be at work at 6 a.m. So none of them need to know the news is, backed up and all of that stuff. I mean, gosh, watch TV if you want to, but they had 2 TVs in that hospital jail, and there was nowhere for me to have just quiet, just peace and quiet, except my room. But my room was next to the TV, so that didn't help. And then one of the guys there told me that we don't have a resort here. So now the spouse got upset, and the Mormons came to talk to me and read a chapter in the book, The Two Elders. And they said, how was yesterday? I told them, the day you guys don't come, it's terrible. There's no peace and harmony here. Because that's the day that the spouse yelled at me. And seriously, after yelling, your ears hurt. So I do this. I go like that, right? Together, pop. I make a sound. I don't make a sound with the voice. I just... right? Because it does hurt after people yell at you. It does hurt. So my mantra for today, since I read one of my journals, I'm at the swimming pool to feel better. So the Mormons, they read, we read, right? Then we went to the park and played soccer. But at the park today, I fell down because I was carrying a frozen water bottle in my pocket, my shirt pocket, and I fell right on top of that thing, off the bicycle. There were 2 things wrong. One, my tire is bulging out. My son just showed me why I fell. The tire is bulging out in the back. And I think I was watching at the cops, because the cops they had stopped like maybe 2 cars or something at the park entrance. So I was watching them, and I crashed the handlebar on the things that go right between. They're yellow on the sidewalk. So I came back, My son was so excited. He spoke to grandma about the soccer game 13-9 and that it was fun. And then he mentioned that they invited us for next Saturday, and I said sure. And then what happened next was, well, what happened was one of the dads, this, and then another one seconded him. They said, your son's pretty good. Like, oh yes, he plays with other children over here at that are on the actual teams, and they teach him to play. But it's all really God. God is making my son a better person than I am, and a better athlete, and God willing, a better human being completely, right? Like, I just started reading about my human rights at 39, 40 years old. He memorized Article 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. And he also has memorized number 13, point number 2. There are 2 points in 13. Everyone has the right to leave his or her country and to come back to his or her country. The words might be slightly different. I don't know if he said to leave his or her country and to come back, or to leave his or her country and to return to his or her country. I think it's return. Something like that. So right now, my mother informed me, and now I'm thinking why my spouse is happy, right? This spouse here. My mother informed me that my father-in-law apparently wants to come visit us, and he's in Florida from California. And then I said, oh, so that's why the daughter, the spouse here, the spouse I'm technically married to right now, she wants to see her dad, and that's why she was so cheerful this morning. However, I began to eat right after soccer, after falling down and everything. I sat down to eat, and my mother was mopping, which is something she does. She sits on a chair and she mops from that chair all of this area around here. And then I told my mother that maybe my father-in-law would bring tamales, or maybe he would bring semitas, which are Honduran sweetbread. And then my mother says, don't you realize that he's coming here from a funeral? Of course, no one tells me these things. I didn't know he was coming here for a funeral. Now, I do know that my brother-in-law, the son of the old man, my father-in-law, somewhere here in Florida, they mentioned the cities, but I don't remember which one, because I've heard of it, but on the west coast of Florida. He was sick, and this spouse wanted to go see him, and apparently he died. So the way I look at it, you didn't get to see your brother, and she says, you never helped me. I cannot depend on you, Daniel. You don't help me go visit over there. You don't help me. But there's a reason I don't help. When we go to Walmart, she yells at me. Or she doesn't buy 1 can of cashews, which is what I wanted for my mother about 3-4 years ago. I mean, she gets $400 or $500 in food stamps. She won't buy it just because she doesn't want to. And that's all I asked for. 1 can of cashews, or it was a bottle of plastic. So, what happened next? My mother said, "You know what, Daniel? I don't want to talk to you. And don't talk to me for 1 week. Don't come to my room to visit me. Just don't." So I start doing the dishes. I said, "I understand. All right, I won't talk to you for a week." And my mother's phone rings and she answers it because she keeps it in her bra, right? She answers the phone. And it's another old lady. I haven't met her. I spoke to her one time, but she's a grandma, but she's working for some reason. I don't know. She might be younger. Anyway. "Oh, hello." My mother is speaking. And then she says, "Let me go to my room so that..." You're going to love this. So that, well, she doesn't say it, but I think it's so that she will have some privacy. So she can talk to her about Daniel or something else, right? But I don't turn around now, so I don't know where my mother is sitting. But my mother says to her, "Wait, Letty, wait. It's just that I can't get up. I sat down and..." She couldn't get up. I think she sat down in the sofa, which is a no-no, right? Because the sofa is too low. And so my mother was having a hard time getting up. Oh! 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 I was cracking up. I'm still washing the dishes. I was cracking up. And then, of course, apparently the other one, I can't hear her girlfriend on the phone. But my mother says, "Yes, he is laughing. He's laughing. Yes, he's he's laughing at me." So apparently because I was laughing, my mother got even more upset, which gave her enough energy to lift herself up off of I imagine it was the sofa, and she went to her room. I didn't help her. I just said, "Well, if you can get up off the chair, can't get up." I didn't turn around. I was washing the dishes and I washed a couple of pots. I didn't say anything. I was just cracking up. So that's the way my day is going so far. And, well, by the way, public announcement. I have changed my username from Daniel the Teacher to Daniel Tortuga because YouTube sent me an email that they could finally change usernames and things like that. So it's the same one that's my nickname, by the way. I'm like a turtle, Tortuga. Life is going very well. And then when I was coming over here, I brought the phone, the house phone. Now, there's very few times that I have that phone, though. I'm practically not allowed to touch it because I grabbed it because my son is falling asleep and I don't want the phone to ring and wake up my son. So I grabbed it, put it in my shirt pocket, but I pressed the button so that I would lower the volume to 0. And then my mother opens her door and says, "Give me that phone. Your spouse told me to answer the phone if it rings. Give me that phone." "Are you taking it with you? Where are you going with it?" So I gave it to her. And then I told her to jack up the volume or pump up the volume or lift the volume. And I don't know how to do that. I said, "I'll show you." And I said, "You press this button." And then she pressed the button and the volume went up. And then she started talking to her girlfriend again. And okay, yeah, and she closed the door on me. So she doesn't even say thank you. You see? So Mother Teresa said in her book, coming to joy or something. Come into joy. Mother Teresa said that never do anything for people that are not humble. And then in the little kids Bible study, humble, according to Patch the Pirate Bible study, he's a pastor that lost an eye to cancer, so they took it eye out, so he put a patch on it, and that's how he became a children's pastor with children's books. So Patch the Pirate said, humble are people that say please and thank you. So then I put it together with Mother Teresa. Never do anything for people that don't say please and thank you. So my mother doesn't say please and thank you. That's why when I'm in this room, I'm happy. When I'm in there, I'm actually in danger. So I go make sure I do an activity. An activity usually is grab food, take it to mother. Actually, I grab food for myself, and then I go eat in my mother's room. And if she wakes up, then I tell her to, if she wants to eat, I ask her. And if she doesn't wake up, then I just eat and go. And I come back in an hour or 2 hours or something like that. So I do check up on my mother a bunch of times a day. She was complaining right now that she didn't know how to get out of the house because she doesn't have a key. Now she does have a key, but she has it in somewhere. And so we have those locks that you got to use the key to get out and things like that. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to use your key, I mean, I hang my key on top of my chest, all day long. It's the way I am. I hang my key. I go in there, I lock it, unlock it, that's the way I am. But it always occurred to me that there are some security guards that they don't lock up doors or anything. And there are security guards that are always checking. I'm one of those people that I always lock everything, Yeah. Alright, so life is going great. My dog is sleeping. My son, I think, is sleeping with the cats. One cat with him, the other one on the other bed over in his room. The third cat, well, I don't play with her anymore because she doesn't like the kittens. And one time I was petting her and she went to me, so I don't pet that cat anymore. I only play with the kittens. The kittens are more fun. The cat is behaving in a jealous type fashion. Alright. The Mormons asked me if I do love my wife, this one, and I'll have to say yes, only because if a zombie pops out, I'll protect her from a zombie. Dracula pops out, or a vampire, or a werewolf, or a bad person pops out and wants to hurt her, I'll do my best to protect her. So for that reason, yes, I do love her. However, she's a difficult person to live with. Alright. Talk to you later. Enjoy your life.